Good afternoon. We're glad to have you here on day 2 of reInvent 2024. You guys have been through a day and a half of sessions already, 2 keynotes, 3 meals, transportation systems. We're happy that you're here with us to share this session. I hope this is going to be an exciting session and informative for you. It's with one of Capgemini's most visionary clients, Penske Transportation Solutions. And I'm going to give a brief introduction to our client, let him take over the rest of the speech. But I'm Michael Geiser. I'm with Capgemini America, and we're an Emerald sponsor here at reInvent this year. You may have seen we have the Yardbird restaurant at the end of the hallway. So we're having an exciting reInvent. We hope yours is just as exciting as ours. So with that, I'm going to tell you really quick about Capgemini before I turn this over. We are one of the top 5 consulting companies. We have about 360,000 employees in 40 countries around the world. We have 6,000 clients across all industries. And we have been an AWS Premier Partner for the last 15 years. There's very little that we don't do with AWS. We have competencies in 13 of their 13 competency areas. And we've actually also been Partner of the Year last year. We've gotten 4 new awards this year, as well as 9 last year. So with 50,000 AWS trained consultants from around the world, there's really very few problems that we can't solve. Sarvan Singh is the Vice President for Data and Emerging Digital Solutions at Penske Transportation Solutions. He leads several teams, and they're dedicated to the creation of these very interesting enterprise data, digital, IoT, and AI, generative AI solution strategies. So, Sarvan, I'll give the mic to you. Next click starts your video.
Thank you, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you enjoying the greatest gathering of geeks on the planet? I don't know about you, but occasionally I love to call myself a geek. I'm Sarvan Singh, and I lead the data and digital practices for Penske. I have an interesting story to share with all of you today. This story is about the convergence of multiple macro trends, resulting into the creation of a killer app, maybe multiple killer apps. Trends like IoT, mobility, cloud, AI. This story is also about Penske as an organization reaffirming its position as a leader and innovator in the transportation technology space. And there are days when I would love to take the credit for it, but it really takes a village. The work you will see today, it required great collaboration between Penske's marketing, maintenance, and IT teams. Some of my team members are sitting here, and there are 150 plus distributed across our corporate headquarters in Reading, Pennsylvania, and our development centers in Tampa, Florida, and India. So thank you guys for everything you do on a daily basis. It also requires an ecosystem of partners to bring some cool capabilities to the table. Partners like Capgemini, so thank you for your partnership, for your thought leadership, and execution. So without further delay, let's move the story forward. I'm going to start with a little video, which is going to show what do we do, and we'll go from there.
At Penske, we're pushing what's possible, looking ahead, reimagining new ways to move the world forward. We have an incredible foundation to build on. We are a seasoned team, recognized for deep capabilities and expertise. We deliver practical innovation that helps customers today, but we never stop thinking about the challenges of tomorrow. It's embedded in our culture to experiment, test, and learn, to find new ways to move smarter, faster, more sustainably, all so we can rewrite the script, change perspective, and innovate together. We are leading the way with technology, tools, and talent, redefining how transportation and logistics can better serve the people who rely on us. We help businesses move more efficiently, reliably, and with precision. And we help families and individuals accomplish important life moves. Together, we know our effort matters, not just for the love of the win, but for the teammates we stand beside, the customers that inspire us, and the communities we live in. Penske, we move the things that move the world forward.
Yeah, so that's what we do, but let me talk about who we are. So we are Penske Transportation Solutions. Our goal is to be the provider of choice for transportation solutions for our customers. And those are our lines of businesses. So truck rental, you may have seen our yellow or white trucks on the road. That's our rental business. Then we have our truck leasing business. That is by far the biggest business we have. More than half of our trucks are part of that business. And then we have Penske Logistics. Through Penske Logistics, we provide supply chain solutions to our customers like 5PL advisory, dedicated contract carriage, warehouse and distribution center management, freight brokerage, and many, many more. Collectively, we are 45,000 associates and 440,000 trucks strong. That's our founder and chairman, Roger Penske. He's 87, still going very, very strong. After retiring as a race car driver, he bought this small car and truck rental business in eastern Pennsylvania. And today, Penske Transportation Solutions is a $13.5 billion business. He also owned multiple other businesses. So it's a great success story. Penske Transportation Solutions was built on a very simple idea: always take care of the customer. And that is what has led us making some strategic investments in the field of people, technology, and definitely trucks. And that's what we'll be talking about today. So it was a decade ago when we put this goal together, that we want to create an industry-leading platform to drive market differentiation, profitability, and digital service revenue, while ensuring that we continue to deliver a great customer experience. See, the date is important. It was a decade ago. And this goal still makes sense. So let me talk about why this goal is relevant, why it has stayed true over a period of time. So let's understand what's going on in the transportation sector. The vehicle complexity has been continuously increasing. I don't know if you know this, but there are 5 to 10 computers on a truck on an average, depending upon the size. That's like a lot of compute. And if you multiply that by 440,000 trucks, you can do a very quick math to understand the amount of compute and storage we have outside of our data centers. Electric vehicles are coming. Sustainability is a major focus area for us and for our customers. Supply chain resilience, very, very important. How many of you knew that 70% of freight in America gets carried by trucks? Did you? That means 7 out of the 10 things you see around you here in this room have been on the back of a truck at some point of time. That chair you're sitting on, that camera, these screens, maybe the clothes you're wearing. So trucking industry plays a major role in American economy. And Penske Transportation Solutions, being a major player in this space, plays a significant role. Supply chain, extremely important. If there are disruptions, sometimes manufacturing plants may not be able to produce what they were supposed to. And sometimes disruptions can lead to stockouts at a local grocery store, as we all saw during COVID. And in this industry, vehicle uptime is extremely, extremely important. We'll talk more about that. We are seeing more and more IoT and telematics being fitted into the trucks. And then machine learning and AI. There is a major focus on autonomy, whether it is the assistance capabilities, safety-related systems, or full autonomy. People are still working on it. So if there is one theme which is common across these trends, what would that be? Any guesses? Data. If you have to respond to this, there's one thing which we have to focus on as a core capability. It's data. So we cannot have a meaningful conversation about how Penske is responding to those trends without talking about data. So what really happened? See, for 300 years since the advent of Industrial Revolution, most of the businesses, they cared about people, processes, and technologies. And if they had that under control, if they were able to successfully manage, things were good. Not anymore. Over the last 30 years or so, and the trend really accelerated over the last 20 years, data has emerged as a new core capability. And not only it has emerged, it has taken the center stage. Why? And why do we care? I'll quote Fred Smith, who is the founder of FedEx. One time he very famously said, information about a package is as important as the package itself. That's a very, very powerful statement. It has implications. Data is the new oil. You may have heard that, right? And then we have seen emergence of IoT and social mobile analytics and cloud leading to this data explosion. And because of that, data needs to be managed as a separate practice. Data is also the key ingredient for technology-enabled digital transformation, and our analysts, our data scientists, they need data. So data is extremely important. How does data create business value? Well, just by having access to data is good enough. There are many companies which are in the business of selling data. Some are selling insights. I think we all know of a major search company which is using your usage data, right, and selling insights. So algorithm, that's where AI and ML fits in. So using AI ML, you can build new capabilities for your business, improve your business processes. Optimization is another area. Using data, you can help optimize your business processes, create new products, data and digital products, offer those to your customers. Using data, you can make good, smart choices about investments. You can also provide a more personalized experience to your customers. And then, of course, data can help manage relationships. So there are multiple ways in which data can help create value. So this is our data strategy. Having the wheel of a truck as data strategy makes perfect sense for a transportation solutions company. So as Steve Jobs once famously said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. This picture looks simple, but there's a lot going on here. I'll try to unpack some of this. So what you see in the center is our data platform. It's a logical construct, not a physical construct. Then we have the common data layer. And then we have our lines of businesses or functions on the spoke. As you move towards the center, there is more standardization, more control. As you move towards the periphery, there's more customization, more uniqueness. And we have 45,000 associates, as I mentioned previously. Only 3,000 of them sit in our corporate locations. Majority of our people are sitting out there in the field, and our goal is to enable them. And it's our field operations which are represented by that tire. That's where the rubber meets the road, as they say, right? This is also our federated governance model. You probably see those colors in one of the spokes, the yellow and the orange. That's our data value chain with a very clearly defined RACI metrics, which is who's responsible for what. So as I said, there's a lot going on here. If you want to talk about that, happy to talk after the session. So as you could see, we crafted this data strategy in direct response to some of these macro trends, which are long-running trends. These did not emerge over the last 1 year or 5 years. These have been really going on since last 10 or 20 years. So at the intersection of these is our major umbrella initiative. We call it Penske Digital Experience. And as part of that, we are building application and tools using which we are making real-time actionable insights to our customers in the channel of their choosing. We're talking about mobile apps, we're talking about web portals, customer portals. We have a customer success team which is dedicated to support our customers to make the most of their fleet technology. And as I was mentioning, there is a lot of technology which is being fitted in the vehicles, so this team supports that. Telematics integration, another major initiative. We launched a program called Connected Fleet 10 years ago, and we have been in the process of connecting our trucks to our data platform so that we can run AI, build digital products on top of it. I'll cover that in a little bit more detail in the subsequent slides. And then we have Catalyst AI. This is an industry-first AI platform which is revolutionizing fleet management. If you are a fleet manager, if you have trucks, you always wondered that how is one of my truck performing in comparison to the other? Or how is my fleet performing in comparison to other customers with a similar kind of fleet? So this tool makes that possible. And then we have intelligent maintenance. As I was mentioning, there's a lot of complexity in the vehicles, so our customers trust us to maintain those trucks for them. And we utilize industry-leading maintenance capabilities, utilizing predictive, prescriptive, and generative AI. I'll talk about some of the solutions in subsequent slides. This slide gives you a very high-level view of how generally we think about database solutions. So on the left-hand side, you have what we call the systems of record. Those are your ERPs and CRMs, the traditional OLTP applications. And in the middle, we have our data platform, but what my team builds is what's on the right, which we call as the systems of intelligence. So whether we are exposing an AI ML application standalone by itself, sometimes we are embedding that in some of the other digital products. So that's where the focus is. That's what drives business value. Now I'm going to take you through our reference architecture. I think Tom Sibley is sitting here in the audience. He put this together for us. And I'll take you through the slide box by box. Good with that? I'm just kidding. The idea behind putting this slide up here is that this is what it takes to run a good, mature data practice. This is what it takes. It's not easy. It's hard work. So if you are part of your company's data organization, I feel for you. I understand you. It really is like putting different pieces of Lego blocks together to make something cool. So this is a view of how we put our connected fleet solution or connected fleet program together. So on the left-hand side, you have our trucks, which are fitted with those telematics devices, and all those trucks are sending sensor data up into the cloud, which we are collecting in Penske's data platform. That's where Capgemini played a big role. And in the middle, let me talk a little bit about that wheel again. So if you look at that wheel, you see like a circle, right? But if you turn it sideways, a tire will appear like a cylinder, right? So we call it our layered value delivery model. So that's also represent our architecture. It's layered and it's loosely coupled. It's layered and loosely coupled for a reason, so that if we have to swap a technology out, we could do that without impacting everything else. And I must say, I'm very, very proud of my team that we were able to swap technologies out multiple times over the last 10 years. So this is working out really well. On the right-hand side is our tools or capabilities, data products layer, systems of intelligence, as I was talking about. So we have implemented capabilities like proactive diagnostics. Using this solution, we can predict when a truck is going to fail before it fails. So that's very, very powerful. Guided repair is a solution using which our technicians can tell what's wrong with the truck and what's the best way to fix it. The way it works is as soon as the truck pulls into our shop, our technicians will hook in a probe, download the data. On a real-time basis, there is a model which is going to recommend, well, this is what could be wrong with this truck, and here are the confidence levels with these 3 recommendations I'm making. Very, very powerful. We have been able to save significant amount of technician time using this solution. I don't know if you know this, but finding truck technicians is a challenging thing. We can't find enough of them. So being able to shave off even 15 minutes from a repair job could add up significantly. And we do millions of repair jobs a month. This is a view of our technical architecture. Some of you who like the details. I think this slide will offer you that. Mike, you want to add something here?
This interesting is they combine the AWS native products, they combine AWS marketplace products and third-party products in this ecosystem. And it's very complex. So Sarvant was telling you about the data is the new oil. Well, this is the platform that processes, distributes, and uses that oil. So you see, they have a number of data providers, 16 or 18 data providers that they collect data from. So Volvo, Mercedes-Benz, and a number of other ones. That data then gets pulled in, aggregated, and split apart into individual messages. They pull 50,000 messages at a time from all of their trucks and from some of these providers. And then it gets processed. That data then is enriched, normalized, it's transformed into a canonical model so that it can be used and compared. Observability and monitoring. They have really an AI-based system that says, are we collecting every piece of data that comes in? Has it made it through the system? If not, where did it fail? And more importantly, are we getting as much data as we expect? This Tuesday, it should have been pretty similar to last Tuesday, should have been pretty similar to last year with the growth factored into it. So all of this will tell them before a customer notices that there's a failure, that the system needs attention. And then the visualization and notifications let people know when something's not going right. And as you can see, there are multiple data syncs. For the different applications require different data in different formats. The data lake, the data warehouse, relational databases that support the handheld mobile apps or the applications that run in the data centers. They're all driven off of this. And just as Sarvant was saying, a number of these products weren't on this map a year ago. Some of them weren't on this map 5 years ago. Very few of them have been on this map in the last 10 years. So it's a very vibrant system that you can look at, and as the needs of Penske Transportation Solutions changes, this diagram also changes and gets updated. So what does that mean? Sarvant said there's a lot of data that's coming in. Well, they pull in about 285 million IoT messages a day, and it's very asymmetric. Monday through Friday at noon, there's about 10 times as many messages that you get at midnight and on the weekends. So, you can do the math. Don't want to say the exact numbers because that's their data, but they process several thousand events per second. So it really is good, and it's scalable. We know that at peak, this platform will scale to 5 times or more of what it's currently processing. So as the future comes, as they buy more trucks, maybe acquire other companies, this system will stand up, and this system will continue to perform for them at the levels that they need in order to provide the data to internal users as well as their external users that rely on this data. One of the most important things that you do is with this data, we look at the data, we curate and qualify the data. The people that are using this data need to know that they can trust it. They need to know what they can use the data for. And we give them that information, we give them the confidence that they can use the data and what they can use it for. And again, at volume, variety, and velocity. They said it's actually, it's really interesting. And again, the data that you saw flows into multiple machine learning apps as well as now Gen AI applications, which Sarvant will be talking about shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So what gets me really excited about is that picture on the left-hand side. See, 10 years ago when we started this program, it was all about, can we just collect this data, right? That was step number 1. Then we said, well, can we run AI on it, like proactive diagnostics? Can we predict failures? And that was great. Now we are really talking about the connected fleet ecosystem, right? Being able to think not just about the vehicle or the digital twin of the vehicle, but can we build a digital twin of the location? We have thousands of locations, right? Can we build that? How cool would that be, right? So because trucks are no longer just about, it's not just about that vehicle anymore. So trucks are at our locations, they are at our customers' locations. So we do want to understand the whole ecosystem. So it's very, very exciting. So I do believe that we're not done. I believe maybe the first phase of this work is done, but we'll continue to work on it. Let me share a couple of interesting facts about our program. So this morning, Matt Garman was talking about customers who have more than a few petabytes of data in S3. Well, he was definitely talking about us as one of them. So that's the size of data we have between IoT and our operational data. Michael mentioned we process 285 million messages a day, and this number is increasing. It's accelerating. It's really exponential. 180 billion, that's the number of reads and writes our data platform performed last month. Even this number is increasing exponentially. 79,000, that's the number of times our technicians use the guided repair model to find what's the right repair for a particular truck. So for Penske, we have been operationalizing AI for almost a decade. It's not a new thing. I know there are many companies talk about AI when they're kind of conducting a proof of concept. We have been putting AI in our business processes or embedding them in our business process for almost a decade. We are very, very proud of that fact. 90,000, that number is very, very meaningful. That's the number of trucks we prevented from failing on the side of the road in last 12 months. Let me help you experience when a truck fails, what really happens. Yes, you may not get the toothbrush you ordered yesterday on time, but it's more than that, right? Because as I was mentioning earlier, trucks are hauling all kinds of things. So when a truck fails, driver is stuck on the side of the road, so driver is unhappy. The customer is unhappy because now all of a sudden they'll have to figure out, right? They have to react. On the Penske side, we may have to provide it. First of all, we may have to send somebody to tow that truck. Then we may have to provide a substitute vehicle on which we may be losing revenue. Right? So 90,000 times those opportunities, I think that number adds up to a very, very big number. So that's the power of data and AI right there. 4 million, that's the number of logins we had to our Click dashboards. In Penske, we are big on self-service BI. So people, we have 200 plus people who are building these dashboards using self-service BI. And there's a number of like 4 million logins a year. That's like a lot. And on an average, people are spending 23 to 29 minutes per login. So we're very proud of that. So 200 plus analysts on our data lake. And then we also launched an initiative we're calling self-service AI, where we are training our citizen data scientists to build models using Data IQ. And I'm very proud that we have already put some of these solutions into production. So it's really, really cool. Let me move this discussion forward. So this slide is probably not new. This is about how you can drive value out of data. And of course, we want to be on the right side, right? We're talking about prediction, generation, and prescription. So we all are on board with that. Using this slide, I'll share how proactive diagnostics really works. So you see trucks on the left, they're sending those 285 million messages on a daily basis. And we are processing all those IoT messages and throwing them against our predictive model, or I must say models, because there are 300 AI ML models working behind the scene. And what you get is a recommendation like, well, there's a critical alert. Truck 3 is about to fail within 24 hours so that we can call either the driver or the fleet manager and have them bring the truck into our shop. And that's where our maintenance network, which is across North America, we have multiple locations, come in very, very handy. There may be other scenario, which is if truck 7 has a 75% chance that there may be a failure in 3 weeks, we already have a preventive maintenance scheduled. We are going to just add a job to look at that particular component. When you are here, you don't need to do anything else, just the peace of mind, right? That's what you get. This is our AI opportunity radar. We have started to use it off late. This is just a good way to pictorially understand how various opportunities stack up. You, of course, have this notion of front office, back office operations, and then customer-facing products and services. So we have been doing a lot of AI work in the front, in the front office, back office, and operations space. There are some initiatives in the customer-facing product and service space as well, but we do realize that that's an opportunity zone, and maybe go for some moonshots. It's all future. This is an interesting slide, and this is when we start to switch to generative AI. I presented this slide last year when I was presenting with Hitachi. And if you know how fast this space has been evolving, we didn't know how exactly this thing is going to pan out, right? Last year we presented this as, well, this is a concept. This is what we would like to build, because this is how we believe it's going to pan out. And I'm very proud of our AWS support team, that they really helped us think through this. And I'm very proud to say that next week, our platform, our internal generative AI platform, is going to go to production. Kader is sitting here in the audience, no pressure. So what you see here is we are, of course, utilizing Amazon Bedrock. So that's where some of the foundational models are being available. We do have a plan to build our own internal model or fine-tune one, LLM. And then we have models like proactive diagnostics, guided repair. There are many others. We have roughly 50 to 60 AI projects currently at works in the company. So that's what is represented there. And our goal is that we'll be combining them together. We do want to pick what's available on Bedrock and do the fine-tuning, right? That's what is shown on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, there are some elements of our GenAI roadmap. So you see products like Digital Tech Assist. That's for our technicians. IT Service Desk Tech Assist. So that's a tool which will also go to production next week. We are very proud of that. The test results were great, and the service desk group is ecstatic about this tool. And then we have many more. Maybe the most interesting I'll point out to you there is the GenAI API. From day one, we knew that we are not just building a GenAI platform. What we want to do is build APIs around it so that we can expose this platform to multiple other internal products. And the goal is to have a pervasive AI within Penske, which is observable, responsible, MECE, which is mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive, and then interconnected. One AI is aware of what the other AI is doing. It's very, very important. So that's what our vision is. And like last year, I'm presenting this. Hopefully, next year we'll be able to provide you with an update that where this is going to land. So that's on the GenAI initiative so far. Let's make this discussion a little interesting. If you look around, maybe behind you, do you see someone looking at you? No, yeah. There is an elephant in the room. There is a GenAI elephant in the room, right? Where is it? Maybe it's here. Isn't that cool? I really love this picture. This GenAI elephant actually has a name. We're going to call it Ivory. Does that name make sense? Right? There is a reason why we're calling it AI Worry, right? Because it represents the enterprise or cross-functional domain knowledge. If you work for an organization like Penske, right, this is what you're concerned about, right? And we'll take this conversation forward, right? But just remember that this elephant, Ivory, represent enterprise or cross-functional domain knowledge. Key to answer those questions which our users or customers want to ask those GenAI assistants. So why is Ivory worried? Because Ivory is looking at the GenAI marketplace and seeing something very interesting. I'm pretty sure that you are having these conversations too. You're talking to your product vendors. I'm talking about software products, call center management solution, website hosting product, right? You probably work with vendors, and they all are reaching out to you and say, "Oh, we have Gen AI in our solution," right? And it's not limited to just one product. You probably are having multiple conversations like this. We probably have had, I don't know, 6 to 10 in last 2-3 months. So this trend is really expediting. This trend is not limited to products. Even platforms. If you have a CRM platform, an ERP platform, it's happening there too, right? All these vendors are building the GenAI capabilities the way we probably built at Penske. So what's the issue, right? Again, coming back to Ivory, what's going on? Well, right? One product, because of the data it contains or manages, it can only provide a limited context, right? Those answers will be limited to that context. Same thing with the platforms. So why is Ivory worried? It's worried because combine all those things together, it will never equal your enterprise or cross-functional context. But that's what you need. Let me give you an example. Let's say a customer calls the call center, and they have a concern or a question about a particular product line. What do you need? You definitely need the past history. So yeah, that may be available in the call center management database. But what about the relationship history? For that, you need the CRM information. What if the concern is about billing? Well, so you need access to the billing data, right? The GenAI engine need access to the billing data. What if the concern is about one particular product line? So you need, your GenAI solution will need to know about what's going on in that particular product line. It need access to that data. Knowing that we all have data silos, despite our data warehousing efforts, data lake efforts, we know that there are islands of data, there are silos even today, right? How is this problem going to get solved? Let me also make it interesting. I believe GenAI has an EV problem, electric vehicles problem. What do I mean? So there was a demand for electric vehicles. We knew electric vehicles are cleaner, and so of course manufacturers came, like Tesla. Well, here is an electric vehicle. Well, what happened? Why the adoption has been slower than we originally expected? Sorry? Was that? Yeah, so there's that. Charging infrastructure, right? Where is the charging infrastructure? And there are companies, and I'm very proud to say that Penske is in the process of putting nation's first heavy-duty charging infrastructure for trucks. So we're definitely part of the solution. But even if we put that, what about the grid? Right? So I think in the GenAI space, we're running into a similar kind of problem. And that's where Ivory is saying, no, let's do that again, right? No, right? It's not going to work, right? So somehow we need to collectively figure this out. And here is an approach which at least I'm proposing we can take, which is, again, it's a very simple, right? Very simple slide, but at the top we have the interaction management. So any Gen AI which the product vendors want to embed in their product or platform, somehow we need to make it work with the enterprise Gen AI solution. Those Gen AI agents need to be aware of each other. If they're not, it wouldn't work. I hope that makes sense. Is it resonating? Yes? Yeah, okay. Yeah. The other thing is that any software product or platform which which will have Gen AI embedded, they need to be open telemetry compliant, because responsible AI is extremely important. Responsible AI means the AI is secure, it's free of biases, right? All those good things, it's safe. So, and as an enterprise, we will have a need. Just because Gen AI is embedded in some product, some platform out there, doesn't take away our responsibility of being able to manage that. So we will still need all of that in our enterprise Gen AI platform. So it's very important that as industry matures, as Gen AI evolves, right, we're taking care of these things. Ideally, it will make sense if we can do BYOL, not BYOB, BYOL, right? So bring your own LLM, right? Because as an enterprise, we do believe that we'll end up having our own LLM, whether we fine-tune or build from scratch, because the costs are going to come down, processes are becoming better. Hopefully, we'll not have to train a multi-billion or trillion parameter model in future. It's very, very important. The other thing I'll highlight is data gravity, right? The alternative, or the picture on the previous slide, right? Because I have had these conversations where people are saying, well, you can push the data. Well, we all know that pushing the data is costly. It's time-consuming, right? So you really can't push your enterprise data to all these different products or platforms. It wouldn't make any sense. And most of the companies are in a multi-cloud environment, so would you really want your data, right, just floating around across multiple clouds? You probably don't. So I believe that here is a way to think about it, and if we'll do that, Ivory will become Appy. I don't take the credit for this name, it's my elder son. He came up with this, so I liked it, Appy, right? So anyway, let me close this presentation by talking about what do we see in the future as it relates to the transportation industry. We do believe autonomy will continue to increase. And as autonomy increases, the focus on in-cab experience will definitely increase. EV adoption will continue to go up. There will be focus on alternative fuels. Sustainable transportation will no longer be just nice to have, it will become a need. Advanced material and lightweighting. It's very important because it will help on the battery side. It will also help on the mileage, right? Miles per gallon, the efficiency. Connectivity will continue to increase. The edge complexity will continue to increase. As I said, we will have more sensors getting fitted in the body of the truck, the tires, the transmission, you just name it. And then last but not the least, paradox mindset. As these things are emerging, as there are other digital trends, having a paradox mindset, which is being able to think race to the right, race to the left at the same time, will become very, very important. Having a flexible enterprise architecture, data architecture is going to be the key. And let me end by saying this, that for a very long time, we said, well, you need to have systems thinking, right? To be successful, to be able to successfully think through things. I'm going to adjust that and say, in today's world, we need ecosystem thinking, not just systems thinking. Systems thinking is not enough, right? Because we're just so reliant on our partners, right? So on that note, I'm going to hand this back over to Michael. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Savant. So we have 8 total breakout sessions and lightning talks that are up there if you want to go to any of them. We do certainly appreciate it. One other thing you noticed, in case you didn't get a snap of a screen that you wanted, every breakout session, every lightning talk is being recorded and will be posted on the AWS events site on YouTube. So in the next couple days, certainly by the beginning of next week, every session that you had here at reInvent will be available for you to watch. I watched 120 of them last year and took notes on them. So it's actually a wonderful resource if you can't get there, because so many of the events happen concurrently. So I think probably one of the things is, since we have a little bit of time before the end of it, we'll hang out afterwards. Any questions that you have, we'll be happy to answer them for you.
Well,
Thank you, everyone,
so much for your time.
Thank you very much.